today I have with me Wendy Walker, who's the president of the Trent TCSA, the Trent Central Student Association. That's our student union. And of course, Kyla McDonald, who you've met, who works on Trent's orientation team, will help that make that transition from high school to university real for you. And it's great, you know, after all, Trent is the #1 undergraduate university in Ontario. It's a ranking we've held proudly for, oh my goodness, 11 years. And there's a reason for that. And that is, well, one second, put a pin in that. Let's do a quick little bit of housekeeping. I think Kyla talked about the closed captioning. This presentation is offered with closed captioning. And to enable your closed captioning, please select the 3 dots at the bottom right of your screen, and it shows subtitles. If you have any questions about anything you hear in this presentation, feel free to drop questions in the chat box. See that chat box down there, and Bella will be there to help answer the questions or forward it to our attention. You know, asking questions and having conversations are such an important part of our community. And in fact, community is the theme of today's talk, because community is what brings us all together. Now, there was a guy named Mark Twain. You may have heard of him, you may not have. He wrote a lot of books. And he once said, "I never let my schooling interfere with my education. I never let my schooling interfere with my education." And the point of that is that there's something more to education than actually being in class. And that's what he was trying to get at. And that's what we get at every day at Trent University, by building community. And we build community in a lot of different ways. And as I said, Kyla and Wendy are going to talk to you about some of the great community building, some of the ways we make you feel connected at Trent. But let me talk to you about, you know, there are the clubs, there's colleges, there's extramurals, intramurals, student government. But let me talk to you for a moment about something that I'm very interested about, Trent's colleges. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, wait a second, this guy may be a doctor, but clearly he doesn't get it, because I'm going to university and not to college. And so what's the deal with this idea of Trent's colleges? And what I want to tell you is Trent's colleges make Trent unique. Trent is a university. Don't worry, you will get a degree when you study at Trent University. But it is comprised of 5 university colleges. These colleges are sub-communities, almost like mini universities in the university itself. And why does that exist? Because we know that universities can make you afraid that you're just a number and not a person. You feel like lost, awash amongst all the things that happen in your first year of university. The colleges are there for many reasons. 1, they offer residence options for you. But 2, they offer a bigger, broader community for every year of your time at Trent University. And you can't, you know, get out of them. You're in those colleges. You are assigned a college, or you get to pick a college. And there are 5 colleges: Champlain, Zosky, Lady Eden, Autonomy, and Trail. And there are 5 different ways, 5 different attitudes, 5 different communities that make you feel attached. And if you don't like the one you're initially in, perhaps, or the one you initially choose, that's okay. You can choose another college. And in this college, you'll have someone like myself, a principal, who will be a mentor and a guide and point you in directions that you may need. Where's the bathroom? Where's my class? No question is too small. No question is too big. That's what we do at the colleges. We also have things called student supports, such as academic skills. And there was an academic skills session today, and academic advising. These are 2 core supports that each college provides to you. And then we provide a whole host of activities. I'm going to talk and opportunities that I'm going to talk about very briefly in a moment about. So the college is basically your home away from home. Now, many of you are in high school right now. Some of you may be coming to us out, you know, after taking a year away, but most are coming to us from high school. Your high school has anywhere between perhaps 500 to 2,000 students or so in it. Each one of our colleges is about the same size as your high school right now. So it makes that transition from high school to university so much easier when you have that smaller space that you can make friends in, have mentors, have professors and people that you can interact with, academic skills and advising. It is a one-of-a-kind experience. College dinners, trivia nights, open music nights, open mic nights. it's not just about school, folks. It is that education beyond schooling. Milk run, that's something that Champlain College does. There's a haunted drumlin walk. What's a drumlin? Figure that out when you go to Lake Eaton College. They'll tell you all about the drumlins. They do the haunted drumlin walk. There's the annual chili cook-off run by Autonomy. What's chili? Well, you think you've eaten chili until you've come to Autonomy, and then you know what real chili talk tastes about. There are winter sports. There's activities as walks and nature bits hosted by Zosky College. And of course, you can always hang out at the Trail Carnival at my favorite college, Trail College in downtown Peterborough. So there's so much we can do for you. As I said, there's services, there's supports. And one last thing, 5 colleges means 5 times the community and 5 times the experience. Do you want to go into student council? Well, each college has its own college cabinet or student council. 5 times the chances to represent. And then you can represent to the larger student council, which Wendy will be talking about in a moment. There are 5 times the opportunities for employment in these colleges, 5 times the opportunities to get together and build community. Well, I've gone on way too long, and we've wonderful speakers ahead of me. So let me, without further ado, move to the wonderful Wendy Walker, who is the president of Trent Student Union, the TCSA. And she's going to tell you a little bit more about on-campus clubs and groups. Take it away, Wendy.
Thank you so much, Michael. Yes, everyone, I'm Wendy. I'm the president here at the TCSA. I have been at Trent for, it feels like a lifetime, but it's been just over 5 years. So I did my undergrad, and then I really wanted to continue and stay at Trent. So that's when I started to get involved with the student union. So I've been involved with college cabinets and a bunch of other groups on campus, like Michael talked about. And then I eventually worked my way up to our student union, where I was the VP of University and College Affairs last year. And this year I'm the president. So it's very fun, and you get to meet lots of exciting people. And the TCSA is a wonderful place because we are students here helping other students, which I think is so amazing and unique. Because all of our staff that works in the office, we've been at Trent, and we understand what it's like to be a student. We know the difficulties that students go through, and we're that support for you guys. So we're really here to make sure that you guys all have your voices heard with administration, but also just have the best university experience that you can. So besides all the other fun things that we do, such as transit and health benefits, student funding, probably one of my favorites is our club and groups. So we are responsible for all of the clubs and groups across campus. We have over 70 registered clubs and groups. Honestly, we have a club and group for almost anything. It's a huge range. There's academic clubs, athletic clubs, language, culture, anything you can imagine. Some of my favorites are the Trent Apiary, Pre-Med Society, Camps Kids, all kinds of things, swimming team, whatever you can imagine. We probably have a club for it. And even if we don't, it's easy for you to come and create your own. And I say this every single open house that I've done. I really encourage students when they come to Trent to get involved. Just pick one group, one club, just like one thing for you to go and get involved with. It's an amazing way to meet people. I have never met anyone that I have given this challenge to and been disappointed by. So if you end up coming and choosing Trent, that is my one challenge to you in your first year, is to just find your one spot that you can meet people and really get involved. I'll pass it back to Michael.
Thank you so much, Wendy. Wow, there is so much to do. And, I'm so very proud of Wendy because she is part of Trail College, and she came up all the way through Trail College and fostered. And look at what she's done. She's now the president of the student union. This could be you too. You can start at Trent, start with one of the communities, the colleges, get engaged, join the apiary club, join whatever club you think is great, and work your way up, build connections. That is what education is about. So thank you so much again, Wendy, and wonderful to see you as always today. Well, this is a very special day because I get to go from Wendy, a trailite, that's what we call people from Trail, to Kyla, another trailite who's working with our transitions and orientation team. So please, can you tell us a little bit about transitioning to Trent?
Don't mind me, I'm just struggling to get through a PowerPoint. Don't mind me, guys. Let's get back to that slide. And thank you so much for that introduction, Michael. Hi, everyone. Yes, my name is Kyla. I'm a fourth-year student here at Trent, hopefully graduating this term, if all turns out well. And I'm also working as the orientation assistant in the Office of Student Affairs. And that sounds like a very fancy title, but it's just a long-winded way of saying that I'm one of the students who works to help you through that transition from either high school or a gap year or the workforce to your life here at Trent. And one of the ways we do that is through orientation. So when you first arrive here at Trent, you're going to participate in your fall orientation if you're a fall student. This is an event specifically designed to get you excited about your time here at Trent and orient you to all the different supports that we've been talking about throughout the open house today. But before we get to fall orientation, we of course have our Summer Connect program, which is a great way for you to get in contact with other incoming students, our orientation week leaders, and talk about your transition to Trent, as well as all the services and resources that can help you through that transition, all before you even arrive physically to campus. Then we have summer orientation, which is open to all of our new Trent students and provides opportunities for you students and your parents or supporters to get an idea of what life at Trent is going to look like. We understand that that transition is really important for our students, but it can also be difficult for the parents and supporters of our students. So we run a dedicated parent and supporter information session so that our parents and our supporters are most armed to help you through that transition to make sure that it's as easy as possible. Then in August, we have our Brigadon program, which provides you with the chance to learn and build strategies for academic and social success through different types of interactive and fun activities here on our Simons campus. We also have orientation events that are dedicated towards every different type of student, including second-year students, post-secondary students who are coming from other post-secondary institutions, mature students, transfer students, and international students. So even if you may not be coming from high school or you feel like university isn't created for you, Trent goes out of our way to create safe spaces for every single type of student that could be coming to our institution. So now I have a couple pictures of some of the fun events that we have ran in the past. On the left is a picture from our historic Great Race event, which is normally done in collaboration with the TCSA or the Trent Central Student Association. And in this picture, I believe Zosky was the college that won that year, and they also won last year. So if you're someone who really enjoys that friendly rivalry and team sports and the camaraderie that comes with things like that, the Great Race is a great event for you to attend. But we also create programming that would accommodate students who perhaps want a quieter, more intimate space, things like clay ring making that we did last year, succulent potting to make your own plants and things like that. So regardless of what type of person you might say that you are, we have orientation programming that's going to help you make those critical connections those first few weeks that you're here at Trent. And to my next slide, we also orient you to all the fantastic spaces that we have here at Trent. So in these pictures on the left, we have the Lady Eaton College Senior Commons, which is a great place to study and meet with groups for group projects or just to get some readings done. And then on the right, we have the Autonomy Commons, which is actually, this is a picture from before they renovated it. Something also that's great about campus is we're constantly thinking about how we can revitalize the spaces that we currently have and make them more conducive to the life that students are living now. Obviously, Trent was founded in the 60s, and part of maintaining a relevant space within universities is maintaining spaces that are welcoming and inviting for all students. And part of that is renovating. Let me just make sure I didn't gloss over anything, and I think I didn't. So in that case, I'm gonna throw it back over to Michael. More pictures. The pictures are fun.
These are great pictures. Thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you so much. You know, we're just sliding through. I said we'd be 20 minutes, and it is 2:20 right now. And then we're going to go into the Q&A section right now. So thank you so much, Kyla, for time with the transitions. I did see in the chat that Charlotte did have a question, so I might start off with Charlotte's question about what's the differences between these colleges and do certain tendencies exist. And I'm going to talk about that, and then we'll open it up for some more Q&A, if that's okay, for the next few minutes. And so, Charlotte, what are these colleges, and what types of people kind of hang out there? Well, the colleges are interdisciplinary, and that means that you do not have to be in a certain program to be in a certain college. In fact, we encourage people in philosophy to hang out with people in science, and people in science to hang out with business students and things like that, because that's where we think those best conversations happen. That's where education happens, is again outside of the classroom and in those rich conversations between the people in your college. Having said that, each college does have departments in it, academic departments. So down at Trail, for example, we have media studies, cultural studies, English. You don't have to be in any of those subjects to be at Trail, but funnily enough, a lot of people in those subjects then become part of Trail. And then, so we have a very artsy sort of feel at Trail College. You know, Zosky College, for example, has the business program based there. And so a lot of business students are there, but there's also Indigenous studies. So there's a very strong Indigenous feel about that. And if that's how you want to roll, if that's the community you want, then you probably should think about going to Zosky College. If you do residence, and there's a whole different presentation on that, the place you live, the college you live, is the college you're part of, at least for that first year while you're living there. And then you can choose to move to a different college as an off-campus student, or you can still maintain that college affiliation. So I hope that helps with that question, Charlotte, that you are in the driver's seat when it comes to picking a college. You either pick it through your residence selection, or you pick it as an off-campus student by which one resonates the most to you. And just go to www.trentu.ca/colleges for more info on what they all have to offer. Now, Bella, do we have questions that we can answer?
Yeah, I believe most of the questions are related a little bit more towards the college residence lifestyle. So someone did ask about living learning communities and how that works with your college affiliation. Yeah,
definitely. There are two different types of, and feel free, Kyle and Wendy, to jump in at any time. There are two different types of living learning communities. There's academic-based ones and interest-based ones. And so, for example, Autonomy has a nursing living learning community. The nursing program is affiliated with Autonomy College, and it's for people who are in that nursing program specifically who want to have a more enriched experience. Trail, for example, has the Swansea Law Dual Degree LLC. And so if you're taking the Swansea Law program, Trail is probably a good place to hang out and become part of the LLC, which gives you an extra bit of curricular kick. But there are also Global Living and other LLCs which are not as academically focused, and they are spread amongst all the colleges. So I recommend that you check out the housing website and find out what the LLCs are, and if you want to have that extra notch of engagement. As I said, colleges are supposed to be interdisciplinary, but the LLC actually is disciplinary, and that's how community works. You can be a smorgasbord and pick no group and want to be with everyone, or you can try to pick an LLC and get a more focused experience in something a discipline you really want to be a part of.
For sure. And just to flag something that Wendy just answered in the chat about clubs and groups and things like that, the TCSA does have a full list of all the registered clubs and groups, which Wendy thankfully put the link to in the chat. So if you're thinking, oh, clubs and groups, that sounds fun, we do have a full list of that on the TCSA website. But if you're looking through that list and you think, I had a so-and-so club at my high school and there isn't a club like that here at Trent, All you need is yourself and a group of friends or a set number of students, and you can actually approach the TCSA about creating your own club and group. So we really like to encourage students to get involved, and if that group doesn't exist yet, you can be the first.
Thanks, Kyla. Other questions people might have? I think, what's really special about Trent is the student experience. There are a lot of universities, especially in this province. They're good universities, let's be honest. Universities are pretty good in Ontario. So why would you want to come to Trent? Trent has a sense of community, has a sense of engagement, has a sense, well, we all care about each other too. We honestly do look out for each other and we support each other. And if that's the kind of community you want to be a part of, then you should think about Trent, and the colleges help to support that. The clubs and groups and the TCSA help to support that. And of course, our student affairs with their transition and orientation programming, they help to support that as well.
And I can only continue to affirm that as a current student, Michael, because obviously you're going to come in first year and your classes might be larger than high school. They can be a bit intimidating, but as long as you make that connection with your professor, introduce yourself, even just drop by office hours to say hi, or even just to ask questions, the professors here really care. And I was actually really taken aback by the amount of them that remembered me, because I thought I was making a brief introduction, and then I would be in a class and there's not until two years after that introduction, and sometimes they still remember you. Like, the cohorts at Trent are so small, and the professors really do care about your success. So professors are a resource in and of themselves, because if you don't ask questions, you don't get the answers that you might be looking for. So when in doubt, ask questions, and they'll be more than happy to answer them for you.
Thanks, Kyla. Any other questions that people might have about life at Trent, the colleges, the services we provide, community? Bella, is there anything that you see in the chat?
I think we've hit all the points in the chat so far. What student supports, academic and mental health supports are available at Trent?
That's a great question. And we didn't talk about this, but don't fret, there is a wellness section to Trent University, and student wellness is a huge concern for us. And so what supports do we have? Well, it starts with your advisor, your principal, your academic skills, and your professors. Every point of contact you have, we're all trained to recognize student wellness, and we can be that first point of contact, and then we can refer you to different specific services. We do have a counseling service. Counselors are based both on the main campus, that's the Simons campus in Peterborough, and at Trail College. We have supports through counseling. We also have various workshops that both wellness and student affairs put on how to deal with coping and managing the anxieties and the transition to university, quite frankly. And so we do have lots of supports, both individual and group, that you can use at Trent University. And if you need, just talk to someone like myself and we can point you in the right direction. Other questions? I'm just checking the chat myself. Do you see anything, Bella, before we... Which college is the graduate college? Well, that's a great one. All the colleges have graduate students in them. However, Trail College has the most graduate students, and then we have about 800 graduate students. So if you, I won't say Trail's the graduate college, because every college has graduate students, but we have the vast majority, and we offer special service too, like graduate workshops, graduate reading room, graduate offices, things like that, graduate programming. Now, you undergrads were like, oh my gosh, I'm just figuring out undergrad. Why would I want to be at a place with grad students? Well, mentorship. If you're hanging out with people who are grad students who have now realized that education is a big journey for them, you might want to learn from them by osmosis. Just hanging out with grad students is a good thing. So put a pin in that. But if you want to know more about mentorship opportunities and kind of how to pursue further studies after your undergraduate at Trent, come see me or talk to any one of our principals about, what the pathways we have. And as I said, it's great to suss out and hang out with people who are on that path already. All right. Well, I'm looking at time and I'm also looking at the chat, so I don't want to miss anything. All right. Well, I do think that we are getting very close to the end, so please look at the contact slide. If you have any further questions, you can contact myself, Kyla, or Wendy, or you can, oh, do you want to just slip one back there, Kyla, just so people know it's the discover at Trent U. There we are, discover Trent U at trentu.ca, discover Trent at trentu.ca, orientation at trentu.ca, info at trentcentral.ca. These are very key contacts. If you want to now slide over to the next slide, before we go, I'd like to invite you all personally to join us for in-person spring open house activities. That is Saturday, April 30th for our Durham campus, if you're interested in Durham GTA Trent, and Saturday, May 7th for our Peterborough campus. I hope you can join us this spring and actually kick the tires and see what wonderful spaces that Trent University has to offer. Well, before we wrap things up, I just wanted to take a moment to thank both Kyla and Wendy, and of course, for all the support of our whole team here with Open House. This session has been recorded and will be posted on the Open House webpage if you want to review the session once again. Finally, I'd like to invite you all to come visit our campuses. We're hosting in-person tours. We just talked about, what's going on in April and May, and there's a lots about to happen. So when the weather gets a bit nicer, come visit Peterborough, come visit Oshawa, come check out our campuses. There's also lots of great sessions today. So keep on exploring online as well. Wonderful to see you all. Thank you very much for joining us today. And for those, welcome to Trent. And for those who are not quite there, we are looking forward to welcoming you soon. Thank you.